Welcome to the Good Fight Collective podcast. We're so excited you're with us today. This is George Dempsey. My name is Jason Carr. We're really excited to be a part of this with you. Good Fight Collective is a ministry that George and I co-lead together to serve churches and leaders, and we get to do a lot of really cool things. And one of the things we do in our ministry is provide this content for you because we know that we're stronger together. And today's podcast is going to be a fun one, George. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Today we get to do something we've done for years.
Yeah.
We just sit around and go, okay, what you thinking about? What's going on? And our hope is that you have someone like we have that you can do that. You can, oftentimes we do it over a meal, and pretty much every time we do it over a meal. So here we go. The plate of ribs has just shown up. So let's jump into what we're thinking about.
Yeah, man, for sure. This is forever now. George and I have just hung out, and just every time we catch up, there's always that, hey, what you thinking? What's going on? And so today's one of those. I want to share something kind of from what I'm thinking this thought. And we actually emailed this to each other, which was fun. Just kind of, we both saw this article. It was on Christian Post. It says fewer than 1 in 3 Protestants who attend church services at least once a month read the Bible on a daily basis. So fewer than 1 in 3 who attend church once a month read the Bible daily, according to a recent report to Lifeway. So essentially what that's saying is, hey, one, church attendance has been, that whole thing's crazy right now of how often do you attend church. When I worked at churches, regular attenders were people who were like 2 or 3 times a month. Now it's once a month. And now it's saying the people who show up once a month, 1 in 3 rarely read the Bible. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I just sit there and I look at that, and it's amazing to me because regular attendance, growing up, showing my age here, it's Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night supper, Wednesday, we used to joke the preacher's going to wash the windows on Thursday night. We'd show up and fill our pew and watch him do it, right? And maybe help. So, yeah, I think it's a lot of people do, and they sit there, and I hate using that term, but go back to COVID, and COVID changed a lot of things, and people went to online. And so, I know a lot of churches, I think, have a hard time tracking a little bit of how many people are watching online. So you think that's baked in there at all, or thought about it at all?
The tracking is a different thing because there's the live views, there's the views during the week, and then the different things, and then how often do people, and YouTube actually will show you how much time people spend on your thing, but it is tricky to get a clear thing. That's interesting too. And I also wonder, for people under a certain age reading the Bible, what does that mean to them? Is it a digital thing? For instance, you've got a daughter in college who I know is pursuing a faith of her own. Does she read the Bible on her phone? Does she read the Bible on her iPad? Does she read a physical Bible? What does it even mean to read a Bible to a certain group who's grown up where technology has moved upon, maybe away from the Bible sitting next to you on the counter?
Yeah, she's taught me, and she's challenged me. And actually this morning she FaceTimed me on her way walking to a certain coffee shop, I won't say, because she was getting her something, but she said, okay, Dad, I'm here, I'm good. And she had her Bible with her because she's taught me that I need to open an actual Bible. And I get it, because we open up our phone or we open up our iPad and we're reading on that, and all of a sudden, ding, all right, and we're off, and we're chasing, and chasing something. So she's taught me that, okay, I need to get the Word back out. I need to open the Word, put my phone away, put my phone on silence. So,
cool.
But why are people? It's like, if that's our owner's manual, if you profess to be a Christian, I've heard that said before, if that's your owner's manual, why would you not know what's in there? Why would you not read the Word? What do you think? Where do you think that's coming from?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I know, as I've kind of porched it with guys trying to talk about this a little bit, I think there's not one reason, obviously, but I do think some of the circulating things I've heard, obviously everybody's busy. Everyone, like you just mentioned, technology. And it's so easy to, I was talking with some guys about this the other night, for guys at least, we have a limited amount of words we can use every day. And my buddy was talking about how his wife has about triple the amount of words he has. And so he gets home from work and he's done, he's out of words. I'm going somewhere with this, so hang on. And she's not. She's got a lot to talk about. So for him, it's easy to go hide in Netflix or an Amazon show or whatever, because I'm just trying to turn it off. Like I'm done. Like I'm at work or whatever has taken me out. And um I wonder if for some of us the amount of noise we have in our life from technology and the busyness of life has prevented us from seeing the wisdom of making the foundational part of that should be our time in the word. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, especially if, if we're claiming it's our foundation,
Yeah.
or sometimes I have to, is it, you know,
Mm,
is it there if we're not prioritizing?
yeah.
And that's, the church and that we help churches a lot of time with men and to get them into groups and get them to some accountability and such like that. So what we do at the Good Fight Collective is to help them go, oh, I see that that needs to be a part of my daily walk.
Yeah.
I see how I am better if I will take a few moments and spend reading the word. So I think we all know that. It's just, you're right. A lot of the other things seem to get in the way. Like I said, family issues. They just dropped a new episode. I'm going to go watch that one, which leads to watching one more and one more.
For sure.
So a lot of times
Yeah.
it's a choice, and I've struggled with that myself,
Yeah.
with the choice as well. But when you choose to read the word, to take the time and ask God to speak to you, it makes a difference.
It's a really interesting thing to wrestle with because it's true for all of us. I mean, I have some friends that are very disciplined with that. You know, they get up at the same time every day and they have their Bible study. And um, I do think it's been more. This conversation has. There's a reason that number exists and that survey exists because it's a thing. And I do think for us to fight the good fight, we do need to be in God's word, obviously. And so it's. I think to me, part of the solution of that is do you have people around you who are encouraging you about your time in the Word and
Right.
helping you to be in that.
Yeah, and in that vein, that kinda leads me to what I
Yeah.
was thinking about
Cool.
and what was going on, and this is something that actually popped up in our men's my men's group that meets on Monday nights, great group of guys, and we were walking through the book of Acts.
Mhm.
Might have mentioned that before, and we've gotten to Acts chapter 9, which we were pretty fired up. The guy that was leading us like, "Oh, I got the good chapter. This is where Paul's, he's converted to Saul," and we'd heard that story, and sometimes, and I felt like I heard this one anew and afresh. So
Oh,
this
that's
is
cool.
so this is what was kind of going on when we were reading through Acts chapter 9, and the conversion happens, and I got some of these down here in verse 20. It says, "At once," and this is speaking of Paul still being called Saul. At once he began to preach in the synagogues that Jesus is the Son of God. And I just thought that was cool. I don't know why I hadn't seen that before, that when the conversion happened, he's like, "Boom, I'm in. I'm
Mm.
balled in. I'm all about that." And they were astonished that, wait, because we all know that Saul was the one very highly educated,
Yeah.
but he was the one running around persecuting, had the authority to persecute Christians and such. So we pretty much know a lot of that story about Saul. But all of a sudden, after in a verse skipping down to verse 23 says, after many days had gone, there was a conspiracy among the Jews to kill him. So all of a sudden, oh wait, Paul was one of them. Paul was one of them, a leader, high of, and then Jesus, they want to kill him. And I saw that, I go, oh, okay. Sometimes,
So the guy that used to kill
yeah,
Christians is now being plotted to be killed because he became a Christian.
exactly. Exactly. And man, we could stop right there and chew on that for a while, because we've talked about that with some people in their faith. If
Mm.
you're really walking out your faith, you're going to run up against some challenges.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus has overcome the world, but hey, take heart. You're going to have troubles. It doesn't say you won't have any troubles, but you overcome the world. So even Saul in his conversion, man, massive. We know that. Wrote half the New Testament. Man, he had some troubles right off from his people that he was trying to leave. Hey, I'm going to leave these people now because I got Jesus in my life. Boy, I bet there's some guys that have struggled with that. I
Mm.
got some buddies and some friends. I really don't want to leave them, but I know I need to. You ever seen that? You ever
Oh
how that
gosh,
played
yeah,
out? Yeah.
100%. And I think, um, you know, we are often a reflection of who we surround ourselves with, good, bad, or indifferent. And I think the foreshadowing of that, by the way, crazy, like of just, hey, they want to kill Paul, and then Paul goes to become, what many consider to be the greatest missionary ever.
Absolutely.
And
So he goes on here real quick. I just jump back in
Yeah.
because I'm just so excited about
Yeah.
this. When we were reading through this, it just jumped out at kind of at the group and says, "But Saul had learned of their plan, and so they started keeping watch." And in verse 25, and I like to jokingly say, here's a big but in the Bible. Verse 25 says, "But his followers," this is Saul has a group with him, "took him by night and lowered him in a basket through an opening in the wall." So all of a sudden they learned that, oh, they were going to try to kill him.
Yeah.
And he had a band of brothers around him that cared about him in his time of need. So that's what really jumped out as I was sitting with my band of brothers in my men's group and what we encourage folks, guys, to be a part of. They jumped into action. Said, dude, we're going to help you. And they snuck him out of the city walls to keep him safe. And then later, Saul comes to Jerusalem and he tried to join the disciples, but they were all afraid of him, not believing that he really was a disciple. That's understandable, right?
Yeah.
Here's the guy that they've just heard about and killing, and they're almost hiding from or whatever. And maybe a knock on the door or something comes and it's like, "Hey, I'm Saul. I've had a big conversion." And it's like, I don't know about that, right? And I equated to that because
Like a Trojan horse.
yeah, yeah, we get some celebrities sometimes
Yeah.
that all of a sudden, "I got Jesus," and they go make a Christian and everybody flocks to them. And I think that's okay, but give them a little chance to see their fruit. See how their fruit plays out. Let's support them
Yeah.
because sometimes it's like even a new convert, they get fired up. Like we all should be fired up on a daily basis because they just got Jesus and they're fired up and we don't know what to do with them sometimes. But we need to help fan their flame and love on them.
Yeah. There was a time I know working at several churches over the years where someone would become a Christian and then knee jerk sometimes would be, "Hey, I want to go like serving students because I don't want them to do what I did." And I totally understand that, but oftentimes we would kind of get to know them and see, "Hey, you're super new in your faith. Maybe you should go through this class that'll help you kind of grow your faith or help you understand more about why you believe
Yeah.
what you believe, or to help you kind of dig into that and have a deeper foundation so that you and sometimes it's just a good fit, but it's just that's a fascinating thing how we that tension to manage.
Yeah, as older, mature in our faith, we gotta be careful not to pour water
Yes.
on the new
Yes, for
convert
sure.
when they're fired up. We need to,
Yeah.
offer some good advice like what you just had there. So Paul had a band of brothers that were around him that helped keep him safe. And then now all of a sudden he's coming and he's fired up and they're scared. They don't want anything to do with him, the apostles. But here's another big but in verse 27. But Barnabas took him
Barnabas.
and brought him to the apostles. He told them how Saul on his journey had seen the Lord and that the Lord had spoken to him. And now in Damascus, he had preached fearlessly in the name of Jesus. So here's Saul going, "Hey, I just want to serve. I've been called. Man, more than well, I shouldn't say more than anybody, but as much as anyone, and definitely recorded in God's word for us, miraculously called from Saul to Paul." And he's just going, "I just want to serve. I just want to be a part." But they're like, But Barnabas, sometimes we need a Barnabas
Mm,
in our life.
it's good.
And maybe you're that Barnabas for someone
Yeah.
that's a new convert. Maybe your men's group's like, we're kind of happy. We got 7, 8 guys and we've been together for 40 years and, we don't want any. Maybe there's somebody that needs to come and needs to be, but we all need that band of brothers that help keep you safe or be with you in times of trouble. And we all need that Barnabas that's going to come alongside. So maybe it's meeting with guys in your men's group outside a group one-on-one, trying to schedule once a month, meet with somebody different. See if you can be that Barnabas for some others because you don't know. So that just jumped out at me in a whole new way. Sitting in men's group and going, wow, look what Paul went through in his conversion, and as he was trying to walk out his faith. And it's really, to me, same for us trying to walk out
That's
our
so
faith.
good. I think too is that there's God controls the seasons, obviously, but there's times in our life where you're the Paul. There's times where you're the Barnabas.
Mm.
And it's kind of learning like, hey, the rhythm of where you're at in your life. And there could be times where you are Paul, but also God calls you to be the Barnabas for someone else. And there's a Barnabas in your life. Like there's this interesting kind of going back and forth of roles God calls us to be, right? Does that make
Oh, absolutely, and what it enabled Paul to do, just because Barnabas stepped up.
yeah.
His band of brothers first kept him safe, and then Barnabas stepped up and said, "Come on, I'm gonna bring you in, and I got you. I'll put my clout on the line for you." And all of a sudden, Paul goes, "Okay," and then Paul goes out, as we know, to the world and preaches and teaches the word and writes half the New Testament. So you never know what your influence,
Mm,
your little bit of giving for someone, helping a new convert, helping a new believer, or helping a brother in your band of brothers. You never know where that's going to lead, how
mm.
God's going to use it.
But if you don't do that,
Mm, yeah,
like trusting God with it, when you give it away is different than not doing it and
mm,
just trying to
good,
lean in and
good. And it's going to
take
take some of your
opportunity
time.
for sure.
It's going to take say away from some other things that you might want to do. But just take that moment when that new person is there and go, "All right, God, is this a person? Do I need to be the Barnabas
Yeah,
for this
so
person?"
good.
If God says, "Yep, do it," then do it.
Well, hey, to kind of wrap up today, you mentioned this on the open, but
Mhm.
for 30 years now, whether whatever roles we had in life and what we were doing, we'd find time to connect, usually over a meal, cup of coffee, whatever, and catch up about whatever was going on. But always there was time where we would have this banter of here's what I'm thinking, or here's what I'm wrestling with, or here's a question I have, or here's something I heard. And we hope that you have that in your life. We hope you have people in your life that you can talk to, process things with, people who can push back on you, people who can be a Barnabas, people who can be a Paul. And that's our hope for you in fighting the good fight, is that you see that rhythm being important for you. I know for us, for me, it's been a godsend having you play that role in my life. And so that's our encouragement to you as you hear this content. We hope it challenges you, but also we hope it encourages you to be thinking about who is out of my life that I have to process things with.
Yeah, and so maybe hit the like button, subscribe, or even send this podcast to that person that's like, "Hey, listen to this, let's get together and let's talk about this podcast and see if we can help each other
Yeah.
grow in our faith,
Awesome.
read the word, hold each other accountable, as you spoke of earlier, make sure that we're attending and we're gathering together, and then we can be part of the band of the brothers and we can be the Barnabas.
Boom.
So until next time, fight on.